Okay, let's get into some homosexual movie news. I know it's a little early because normally I always say the homosexual stuff for the end, but a couple of months ago, I think, yeah, it might have been last year actually. We were talking about that George A. Romero, who you know is the godfather of zombie films. His daughter is actually a filmmaker named Tina, and it looked like she's literally following in the footsteps of her father because she has a new movie coming out that's a zombie film, but it features members of the LGBTQ community, and the movie is called I was gonna say Queen of the Universe, Queens, sorry, of the Dead. So um so Entertainment Weekly had the exclusive photos, and I'm gonna be bringing up the photos and stuff while we talk. But I would just give you the article. So they say at one point during Queens of the Dead, a character makes a point to say, "This is not a George A. Romero movie as zombies take over New York City." It's the most meta of all the references to the pioneer of zombie cinema in the film, which marks the directorial debut of George's daughter, Tina Romero. She said, "I am his kid. There's no denying it, and he has influenced me greatly." This is what she told Entertainment Weekly ahead of the movie's world premiere this June 7th at the Tribeca Film Festival. It's going to be busy in New York. Like, one thing about New York that I love in the summertime, especially, it's always busy. Like, we have the Tribeca Film Festival, the Tonys is next week. It's Pride Month. Like, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in New York. But they also do, like, I think in Bryant Park, where they do, like, where you can go and watch a bunch of damn movies and stuff where they have it on the screen and you can go for free and see it and stuff. So she said, now they said that I had fun doing my little Romero nods throughout the film, and we have some good ones. Tom Savini, an actor who worked on many of George's movies in the filmmaker's heyday, is one such nod. Another is an appearance by Galen Ross, who featured in 1978's Dawn of the Dead. But to echo that specific piece of dialogue, Romero is profoundly part of the fact, or proud of the fact, that Queens of the Dead isn't a George A. Romero movie, and not just because of the subject matter. A kooky assemblage of LGBTQ plus partygoers must hunker down at a warehouse drag show when a zombie outbreak occurs. The zombie apocalypse is such a rich sandbox to play in when it comes to social commentary. I can't be my dad's daughter without making an attempt of saying something with zombies. This is what she said. I did want this to be a film in which I am paying homage to the world and the monster he created. But I'm also introducing my own voice. It's very much not a film he would make, but it is using his vocabulary and is playing by his rules. As far as the queer element, on one hand, I just feel like the gays need a zombie film. It's time we get to have a big gay zombie movie. Absolutely, because here's the thing. As somebody who is a huge horror movie fan, as someone who also is a part of the Levitical community, or as I like to call it, for short, of LGBTQ. Well, how short could you make it with LGBTQ, right? But as someone who was a huge fan of horror, and queer people are very much, we always feel like we could relate more with horror out of any other genre because horror films are always about the other, the outcast, the ones that people should be afraid of. And when you look at so much hatred that we're getting from the others, the ones who the bigots out there who want LGBTQ plus people to die, who are out here harassing trans people. There was a story that I saw, or not even a story, a video of a trans girl who her and her friend were at I can't remember where it was, probably was in a red state, that they were at a moving company situation, parked her car next to a moving truck. The people that were there, the men were there, I guess, worked for the company. They were harassing them. One of the guys actually smacked the girl. Then we had a situation where there was a trans man who wanted to go use the bathroom. They told him because of where he was, I think it was Texas or something or another, that you had to use the bathroom of the gender you were assigned. So he goes to use the women's bathroom, and then they beat him up. So it's like, what? Like, what is happening? So in so many ways, like, yeah, we feel like we're the other. We have to come out and do what we need to do to try to survive. So it's like, yeah, we relate so much to a lot of these characters. Plus, I think we relate a lot to the monsters, like the old Universal monsters, like Frankenstein and Dracula and all these other people. And I don't know, why can't we have the one thing I also love about horror movies is that the social commentary aspect. So like, I feel like that's the one genre you can do these social commentary metaphors, which is like what Tina Romero is getting at, and a lot of the themes when you look at a lot of her father's movies, particularly like Night of the Living Dead, when you had the lead hero was a black man, and in those days the overall racism was going on, and then at the end how he survived everything, and then what happens? I don't know if what was he, a racist or something? The guy goes and thinks that the black guy is a zombie, and they shoot him and they kill him dead. So there's social commentary and all of that. And if you look at any of the other ones, particularly like when we're talking about the consumption of like the malls and all this stuff, the metaphor behind that with Dawn of the Dead and all this other. So there's always been a bit of social commentary that has been in a lot of those movies, cloaked with horror. So it's like you get to see all the blood and gore, but then there's a story beneath that. And I always like stuff like that. So I do feel like we need more content where we get to see queer people represented in different things, because queer people like horror movies, queer people like science fiction, queer people like action, queer people like rom-coms, but we want to see that representation more. So I'm glad that we're getting that from Tina and all that good stuff. So now they said the faces in front of the camera are the equivalent of queer Avengers. Without spoiling key points of the film, there is in fact a suiting up montage scene involving a glittery Captain America-esque shield. Katie O'Brien from Love Lives Bleeding plays Dre, a stressed out party promoter who's trying to throw an epic warehouse rager with drag queens in Brooklyn on the very night the undead starts to rise. As the city goes into lockdown mode, Dre teams up with a crew of big personalities played by Jaquel Spivey from Mean Girls, the movie musical, Nina West from RuPaul's Drag Race, Tomas Matos, from Fire Island, who I actually ran into one time on the train. They are every bit as non-binary as you can get. Like, be outside with the little skirts on, the wear the whole crazy outfit. You see Tomas, he's right in this picture next to Dominique Jackson from Pose. Every minute, what you see here is what you see if you met them in person, because I think they go by they them pronouns. Then we had stand-up comic Margaret Cho, Jack Haven from I Saw the TV Glow, as I mentioned, Dominique Jackson from Pose, and Cheyenne Jackson from American Horror Story. Now, Quincy Dunbaker from Nona's plays the token straight guy of the group, Romero's riff on the more common token gay person, while Ricky Lindholm, from Knives Out, Shawnette Renee Wilson from The Resident, Becca Blackwell from Survivor of the Thickest, Eve Lindley, Dispatches from Elsewhere, and drag artist Julie J also featured. And so Romero didn't initially have plans to follow so closely in her father's footsteps by directing a zombie movie. Growing up, she was more interested in gender swap Peter Pan or other modernized takes on storybook figures, saying, quote, "I didn't want to touch the genre unless it felt authentic to me." And that's what she said in the comments. Now, after moving to New York, where she enrolled in NYU's Tisch graduate film program, Romero moonlighted as DJ Tricks, landing her first residency at this DJ alter ego at Hot Rabbit, a recurring queer dance party, saying, quote, "It was really interesting courtside seat to the evolution of the queer community. Over the decade that I was DJing in the queer scene in New York City, I saw the community shift from a world that was more split up, boys versus girls, to a world that was much more mixed and identity agnostic. A single experience instantly sparked the idea for Queens of the Dead. One year, the co-promoter of Hot Rabbit at the time broke off to start a rival party on the same night, saying there was big drama on social media. The original promoter posted this manifesto begging the question, when will queer communities stop devouring its own? And it hit me like a bolt of lightning. I was like, oh my God. This would be how I would want to explore the zombie genre in this world of queer nightlife. It's colorful. It's full of fascinating characters. It's a world I know. It has music. It has lots of people who are scrappy and know how to make stuff work. It's New York. It's so many things, not to mention the intersection of drag and zombies. Transformation-wise, I got very titillated by the idea. They were saying that O'Brien loved it as well. Before Love Lies Bleeding, her lesbian romance thriller with Kristen Stewart, even opened in theaters, Romero sent the rising actress a letter to gouge her interest, saying, quote, "I'm a big horror fan. I'll bite. Let me read the script." Saying it was something that I was looking forward to doing because I just don't get to do humor very often. Also, like that it's very unapologetically queer. We're not coding anybody or anything, as we should not. So they said the end credits of the movie feature a special thanks to Tom Cruise too. And they said that's because the production of Mission Impossible allowed O'Brien, who appeared in that film as character Kodiak, a week off to appear in Queens of the Dead. They said the entire production, and I forgot that she's in that movie. They said the entire production was a scrappy affair, which wasn't unfamiliar territory to the cast. Nina West, for instance, knows a thing or two about using hot glue, some sequins, and a sewing machine to make Drag Race Eleganza. The shoot largely played out at a warehouse in New Jersey, though 2 scenes entailed the crew running around without a permit, basically on the streets of Bushwick. Well, sometimes you got to do that guerrilla style. I know a lot of friends of mine who direct that do that too. And yeah, Bushwick, I used to live out in Bushwick, so I already know how that is. So she said our budget was not big and people really were doing this out of the love of the project. I think it really shows. Our hair and makeup department pulled in some favors and got all this zombie stuff. I think The Bride had just shot there, which is the Maggie Gyllenhaal movie about Frankenstein's monster, and his bride shot in on around New York City, which I'm hearing great reviews about, and I definitely want to see that movie when it comes out. I also want to see before I get to the rest of this story, I also want to see what was it? Oh, the new Frankenstein movie that Guillermo del Toro directed with Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi. I definitely want to see that too. Like I've heard that well, not I heard, but I looked at we saw the trailer. It looks pretty good. And I don't think that if it wasn't Netflix, they wouldn't have allowed Guillermo to do what he wanted to do with his own Frankenstein movie. So, also, what I'm just say, I don't know if they were supposed to give us this, but they gave us whatever donations that they had left over and really just pieced together something so cool and unique and quirky and enjoyable. Now, Romero will never know what her father, who died in 2017 at age 77, would have thought about the final film, which she wrote with Aaron Judge. However, she was lucky to pitch him early on. He said, I love it. Run with it. Go for it. Unfortunately, he never got to read the completed script because it took me about 7 years to get this developed and has gone through so many iterations over the years, but I did have his blessing. And you want to know something? It's not easy to get a movie made, but you accomplish something that a lot of people don't get to accomplish. And I'm hoping that this movie actually is pretty good. I know it's up at the Tribeca Film Festival this week, so they're going to be looking for distributors. I think the perfect home for it. I mean, I hope it gets a theatrical release and probably get like a little limited release or whatever. But if there was a home that I would love to see it at, I would definitely love to see Shudder buy the rights to this film and put on there. Shudder has pretty much been at the forefront of representation of queer horror content, especially when we have like there's been a couple of movies and things that they put on there that is, queer based. And we also have Dragula on there. So I think it would be a perfect home for Queens of the Dead to appear on Shudder. And I definitely am looking forward to seeing this movie when it comes out. So and I'm hoping that it's good enough that it inspires more people. Shit, I'm hoping it'll inspire me to get out here and make my own queer horror film. So I have to say all this to say, what do you guys think of this story? Are now that we've got a couple of photos, we have some story behind the scenes stuff regarding this film, hopefully with Tribeca Film Festival coming up in a couple of days, that we'll hear some good things in the press. We'll get a review of the movie and it gets picked up somewhere. Somebody distributes the film and then we actually get to see it when we get to see it. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.